So there is combined power generation. But in our country, if we consider that utility power plant means it will supply electricity to the grid. So all the utility power plant will have a combination of reheat regeneration, assuming that all of them are subcritical power station. Supercritical we will discuss later. So most of our power plants are subcritical power plant, and they are having a combination of reheat and regenerative. That I have mentioned that this is one of the way of increasing the efficiency. So subcritical power plant, the best thing we can do is that we combine reheat and regeneration. We have already told that reheat, generally we do one reheat. In very rare case, if it is very high pressure boiler, then we do two reheat, only two reheat. Very, very rarely in case of subcooled power plant. But regenerative feed heating, we have got large number of regenerative feed water heater in a practical power plant. It could be 8, 10, even sometimes more than 10. 6, 8, 10, these numbers are quite common, even more than 10, that is common. So the feed water heater, there could be two types of feed water heater, open feed water heater and closed feed water heater. I will take care of them in a next lecture, in some some lecture later on. But now let us proceed with the basic cycle where we have shown only one feed water heater. Up to this, anybody has got any question? Let us discuss that. Otherwise, let me proceed. If not, let me proceed. Okay. So let me proceed. But then there is a problem. Where is the problem? Where the problem is given? Is it given here? Yeah. So this problem, let us look into this problem closely and try to see its solution. Consider a regenerative vapor power cycle with one open feed water heater. It is very, very ideal. Steam enters the turbine at 8 megapascal, 480 degrees Celsius, and expands to 0.5 megapascal, where some of the steam is extracted and diverted to open feed water heater operating at 0.7 megapascal. The remaining steam expands through the second stage turbine and to the condenser pressure of 0.008 megapascal. Saturated liquid exits the open feed water heater at 0.7 megapascal. Isentropic efficiency of each turbine stage is 85% and each pump operates isentropically. If the net power output of the cycle is 100 megawatt, determine the thermal efficiency of the cycle and the mass flow rate of steam entering the first turbine stage in kg per hour. So if we do this problem, then more or less we will know how to do regenerative cycle problem. It's very basic, but very I mean, common kind of problem which most of the books of thermal power plant and thermodynamics discusses. So here we have shown the cycle. So that means one thing you have to be little bit careful. This is your open feed water heater. Here steam comes at 0.7 megapascal. Water, it mixes with water. It mixes with water and then it goes out in saturated condition. Steam has condensed and water temperature has increased. So it will go out at saturated condition of 0.7 megapascal. All right. So this is what is our open feed water heater. So for the open feed water heater, we can do some sort of mass balance. We can do also some sort of energy balance. And from there, we will know how much is the magnitude of Y, or how much steam has to be extracted. I ask you, I think after this explanation, you can follow the problem straightforward, no? Or do you need to go through it? These have been done. These have been done in your thermodynamics class. It will be too boring if I go on point by point and tell. The crux of the point I have told, that how to determine the mass. And another thing you have to be careful, that when it is expanding from 1 to 2, this is your actual expansion line. 1 to 2, it is 1 kg of steam. And when it is expanding from 2 to 3, then it is less amount of steam, 1 minus Y kg of steam. And this is your Y kg, this is your 1 minus Y kg, and here again we are getting that as 1. So this is, nothing else is there, no complicated things are there. Okay, so let us. So then we have got reheat regenerative cycle, where we are having also reheat and regenerative. And as I have told that when we are having this regenerative feed heating, particularly for practical steam power plant, we are having number of regenerating feed heater. So you see here I have shown 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 regenerative feed heater. Out of them, 3 are closed. One is closed, another is closed, another is closed. In between, there is an open feed water heater, and this is sometimes called, if there is only one open feed water heater, so this is called deaerator. I will give a small note. Do not worry, I will give a small note, but it is important to listen. So we are having then feed water heater can be of 3 types. One is closed feed water heater, another is open feed water heater, and a special kind of open feed water heater which is called deaerator. And in a big steam power plant, all the 3 types of feed water heaters are there. Okay. So when I am talking about deaerator, let me tell you, I will give a note so that it will be clear. So what is a deaerator? Now you see, steam power plant is a very big unit. You can have the idea. I mean, you can have some idea at least that it is very big unit. Water and steam has to pass through different pipelines and components and heat exchanger, etc. So those are mainly made of metals and alloys, and the water is there at high pressure and high temperature. So obviously there could be some sort of a reaction with this metal and alloy, whatever metallic construction is there. So with, due to this reaction, they are not very vigorous reaction. They are not very, large amount of products are produced, not like that, but they will produce certain amount of gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, etc. These gases, they are called, if you know, probably, they are called permanent gases, or they are non-condensable gases. So obviously, we cannot go on accumulating these gases in this circuit, which is more or less a closed circuit. It is not totally a closed circuit. The water steam circuit is not totally a closed circuit, but it is more or less a closed circuit. So we cannot go on accumulating these kind of gases, and there could be problems if we have got this kind of gases accumulated. So these gases are to be vented off. So what is the way of venting off? These gases will be there in the steam, and then the steam and water are allowed to mix directly. So obviously steam will condense and the permanent gases or non-condensable gases, they will not condense. So suppose we have got an open feed water heater, which is nothing but a direct contact heat exchanger at a good elevation, means at a height from the ground level. Then steam will condense and the non-condensable will accumulate at the top part of this deaerator. And then there is a vent hole. So through the vent hole, these non-condensable gases can go out. So this is your deaerator. But deaerator is very, very important. And in all the power plant, big, small, whatever it may be, so there is at least one deaerator. One deaerator generally is there. Only there is one exception, and there one takes care of it in a different way, that deaerator, whatever gas, means permanent gas or non-condensable gas is coming out, that is going to the atmosphere. And that is not allowed when we are having a nuclear power plant. So nuclear power plant, we have to have different kind of safety or precautions. So in nuclear power plant, we have some different arrangement. But otherwise, we are talking mostly about coal-based power plant or fossil fuel-based power plant. Everywhere there will be a deaerator. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let us look into the closed water heater. Closed heater. So this is a closed heater. So here you see in open heater, we are not showing anything, any internal. But in the closed heater, we are showing the feed water is going and from the steam, steam is coming, but no direct mixing. So what will happen? It will happen like this, that the steam will condense, but it will not mix with the feed water heater. So here what is the pressure? Pressure is high pressure. At a high pressure region we have taken. And then we are getting water or condensate, which is also at high pressure. What we will do, we will go for some sort of a throttling. So the pressure of the water will reduce. And then due to this high pressure, and on this side there is low pressure, condensate pressure is low, so pressure increases in this direction. So we will send it in the backward direction so that without any pump it can be sent. Because this is high pressure, this is low pressure, without a pump it can be sent. There could be some sort of a throttle valve, or there is one thing, please note it down, and in my note also I will write that there is some sort of a it is not exactly valve, but some mechanism which is called a steam trap. STEAM, steam, and TRAP, trap. Trap for steam. That means here we will not allow any steam to go in the backward direction. Only water will be allowed to go in the backward direction. Okay? So this is one of the arrangement for closed water heater. But whenever open water heater is there, every time you use one open water feed water heater, we have to use a pump. Suppose there are 5 open feed water heater, there could be 5 pumps. So this I will elaborate in a small note, which I will send it to you. And then ultimately, what is happening? Okay, all the water that is going to the boiler, and in the boiler we will have evaporation and what is that, superheating, and then we will use. And in between you can see that we have also used a reheating. Now I request to be little bit more careful. Let us see the first closed heater. So here, what is happening? Here, I have got condensate. Sorry. Here, I have got condensate, and the condensate is going through the closed water heater, and steam is coming. steam is coming, and then steam is also condensing, but these two condensate are not mixing. And this I have to send back in the backward direction. So if I send it back, I do not have any other place. I have to send it to the condenser. Is this point clear? Yes or no? In all the other cases, for closed water heater, the steam which condenses, I am sending it to other equipment which is just upstream of it. Okay, but that is not condenser. In this case, there is no other equipment upstream of it, so I have to send it to the condenser. Is this point clear? I want to hear one yes or no.
Can you please repeat?
Okay. ठीक है, मैं थोड़ा खोल के बोलता हूँ. In case of open feed water heater, whatever we are getting from the feed water heater, this is what we are getting from the feed water heater, that goes towards the boiler. In case of closed feed water heater, the arrangement is that the condensate which is coming from the condenser, that goes towards the boiler, and the steam which is getting condensed, that goes backward to the previous equipment. Is this point clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, come to the first closed feed water heater. Here, the previous equipment is nothing but the condenser. So here, if the steam which has condensed, that has to go back in the backward direction, so it has to go to the condenser. And in the condenser, what it will do? This steam has got high temperature, this water has got high temperature, so this will increase the temperature of the condenser. And where is the cursor? Yeah. So this will increase the temperature of the condenser. So I need more cooling water. Okay. So this is kind of a double penalty. That once I have condensed the steam, and here what I am condensed this steam, and here what I am getting, that cooling whatever I have done, that cooling is used to cool this bleed steam, and that bleed steam is again increasing the thermal load of the condenser. So this is not a good arrangement. Now, in many of the power plant, this arrangement is there, but please try to remember this is not a good arrangement. This is a double penalty. Only due to convenience, and as this steam is very low mass flow rate steam, as this steam is very low mass flow rate steam, so that is done, but thermodynamically this is not a good arrangement. Okay, so this is one small point I like to mention, but many of the standard textbook you will find this, in some of the thermal power plant you will find this one, but this is not a good design feature. So this part we are going to end here. Up to this, if you have any question, please ask.
Sir.
Sir.
Bolo. Hello.
Sir, in first closed heater, in first place, why are we connecting, like sending that water to condenser when it is not good?
Because there is, in this arrangement, let me tell you, in this arrangement, there is no other provision. We can send it in the upward direction, but upward direction I have told that pressure is increasing. So then I can send it, I mean, alternate design is possible. Then I have to install a small pump over here. Whereas, if I send it to the condenser, condenser has the lowest pressure. This pressure is high. So automatically fluid will flow from high pressure to low pressure. Got the idea?
Yes.
I can send it in the upward direction, I mean, in the forward direction or downstream. Then I have to install a small pump. So in many power plants, this complication is avoided and they want to send it in the backward direction. So backward direction is all right for all the feed water heater, except the first feed water heater if it is a closed feed water heater. So design can be changed. We can use one open feed water heater. We can use a small pump and pump the liquid in the forward direction. So those kind of things can be done. And it is done. It is not means I am not telling it, inventing it and telling it. It is done. But in many cases, it is also not done.
Yes, sir. In last closed heater, last one, why can't we send that water to deaerating open heater?
No, we can send it. We can send it. Only thing is that if you see the feed water chain in a turbine, in a large power plant, this is very large. So pipeline, etc., will be large. And pipeline means when the hot water is coming, so there will be heat loss also. So that's why to the closest equipment to yes, sending it. You can send it.
Okay.
No problem. Okay.
Sir.
Sir, why are we placing a closed feed water heater as the first feed water heater?
That is what I told, that there are several considerations. Generally, closed feed water heaters are more in number and open feed water heaters are less in number. Of course, there is no such rule. There are leading companies for manufacturing boiler. So design changes from one leader to another leader. So, but many cases there could be a closed feed water heater, and what is the issue that I have told. But we have to keep it in mind that this water stream is small, so people do not mind, because there are so many losses here and there, we cannot take care of them. People do not mind. But this is a thermodynamic issue, and that's why I am telling you.
Yes.
In many cases, people do not mind it. It is due to convenience, etc. And in a practical power plant, there are so many things. There are so many things means, so what kind of size of the heat exchanger? These are all heat exchangers. So what kind of size of the heat exchanger, whether there are other equipment you have to place it. So those different issues are there. So depending on these are selected, and I am just raising one thermodynamic issue. For other closed feed water heater, it will not be a problem, but for a closed water heater, which is just after the condenser, it is thermodynamically not good. Alternate design can be done. All right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
ठीक है, चलो. Then we will go to supercritical cycle. The supercritical cycle, what I have thought that I will not teach you from this slide. I have sent you another slide. I will teach you, but what I have left so far is that the discussion regarding feed water heater. So that is very important. I will send again a small slide deck on that. And you see another thing, let me give it, I mean, as a point of thinking to all of you, that dekho, I have told that we are using some 10 to 12 feed water heater in a big power plant. So is it arbitrary that we have decided at one point of time that we will use 12 feed water heater? But where we will put it in the turbine, where means at what pressure we will put a feed water heater, is it arbitrary? It should not be. So this also we will look into that how optimally the feed water heaters can be placed. All right. So this also we will see. That is later on. Now let us proceed with supercritical cycle. So I am coming out of this slide. Let me see whether you are. Can you see another slide? PPT? Yes or no? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So supercritical steam power plant generation, thermodynamics, and a brief overview. Can you find it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So please permit me to show this. Actually, it is not for your class. I could have changed for your class. This was for some external lecture. So there are certain information which could be a little bit redundant, but let us proceed it. So first I have shown a long march of steam power. Actually, with steam, you know, let me tell something interesting. I mean, at least what I feel interesting. The bookish thing you can pick up from any class, any textbook. There are so many good books. Professor Pickenak's thermal power plant book is there. Even one book is there. Very recently, I have also written one book. But when Professor Nag's book is there, I do not like to mention my book's name. Okay, forget it. So you see, that steam can do certain thing that was known in different parts of the, even in Egypt, etc. People have knew this, and in temple, etc. They used to do some sort of magic that automatically, when they are putting some fire on some altar, automatically some door is being opened, etc. But the first thing which with this steam one can have some motion, that was Hero's Wheel, first century AD. The first figure. Can you understand what is happening in this figure? Please see.
Like in that, what do you say, plate or something? This thing,
No,
the steam is being produced, and then
bowl jaisa hai. There is a bowl kind of a thing.
bowl.
So usme water
Steam
is there,
generation.
so steam is generated, and then there are two pipes. Let me use my cursor. There are two pipes. So this is one pipe, this is one pipe. Steam is coming to the ball, and here the ball is connected with the pipe so that the ball can move. And there are two nozzles from which steam is coming out, and then the ball is moving. The sphere is moving. So it is just like a lawn sprinkler. In a lawn sprinkler, water comes in two different directions and the lawn sprinkler moves. So here also it is like this. So this was the Hero's Wheel who was demonstrated. I think he was a Greek scientist, and he demonstrated this motion. But the fine engineering you can see later on for people wanted to recreate it, and they really had difficulty. The main thing is that here there is some sort of a junction between stationary object and rotating object. Then there is another thing also, that if this steam goes here inside, there will be condensation. So I mean, people could make it, but it could not make it run continuously and all these things. So even the earlier days, the engineering we have to appreciate time to time, which is, I mean, recreation of which is difficult. And then we can see the steam engine, 18th century AD. Then we can see the steam turbine. And then ultimately what steam power we can think of, supercritical boiler of present days. So let me very quickly go through. These are important. So if sustainability is our concern, then how sustainability is at danger? Depletion of fossil fuel, environmental threat, and then these two things, carbon footprint and water footprint. So we are generating power, but at the same time we are generating a lot of carbon dioxide. So how that can be reduced? That we will generate, let's say, X amount of power, but carbon dioxide generation will be as minimum as possible. And when we are generating power, we are also using water. So that is your water footprint. How it can be that we are generating X amount of power, but we are using the least amount of water. So these are the concern for sustainability. And of course, these are the main thing. Other things are there, land, etc. That how can we have a very compact power plant? So those things could be there. These are all common thing. Improvisation of basic cycle. So I have shown side by side your reheat and regeneration, and I have told that combination of reheat and regeneration. So here it is a reheat regenerative Rankine cycle, and here also you can see that different type of feed water heater has been used, and you see this one is your deaerator. Deaerator looks like this. This is your deaerator. I have written all the deaerator. So at least one deaerator should be there in a power plant. So okay, forget it. This let us spend some time because this is a subcritical thermal power station. What we are learning so far means we are only in the basic cycle, but this shows the practical power plant more or less with all the components or most of the components. So in a thermal power plant, we can discuss it in different way. Let us think of fluid flow point of view. So there are basically two fluid circuit. One is your air circuit and another is your water circuit. And then there could be cooling water circuit also. Forget about that. Simply let us decide let us think of the fresh air circuit, or sorry, air circuit and water circuit. So what is happening, please see. I will show you some animation also after some time. Actually, time to time, if I show things, that would be good. At the same time, if I show all these things, probably you will forget. So important things are to be repeated with interval. So we know coal is it visible to everybody, this figure? Of course, you will have, you have a copy of it, but is it visible to everybody? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you see, here we are getting the coal. So coal is being crushed, and then bigger chunk of coal that is coming over here, which is a hopper. And here there is a ball mill. So the ball mill makes into pulverized coal. So in most of the present day boilers, of course, there could be some sort of fluidized bed boiler. We will see how far we can do it. But otherwise, pulverized fuel firing is there. Kolaghat, if you go, so Kolaghat Thermal Power Station, which is on the way to Kolkata, so that is pulverized, and most of the cases it is pulverized. So here there is a ball mill which pulverizes the coal. And then you see, from here we are taking fresh air, this shaded line, and then it is coming over here. There is a blower or something which is a forced draft fan. Which is a forced draft fan. It is forcing air. So it is forcing air to the pulverizer, and in the pulverizer we have got coal dust, and then air is mixing. So it is mixing some sort of a fluid, and pneumatically then the coal dust is being injected in the boiler. So this is your boiler. This red thing, you can take this as your boiler. Okay. So boiler has got some sort of a very, very common structure like this. So this way air is coming and coal is coming, then hot gas, this is going like this, this, and then this is the chimney. So let us describe it in a good manner. If it is necessary, we will take it also to the next class. So what we can see that here combustion is taking place. When the combustion is taking place, heat is being generated, and heat is being generated. Transmission of heat could be by different means. One thing is that hot product of combustion. So that hot product of combustion will come and its temperature will reduce. So due to convection at different section of the boiler, it will transfer heat. And here we are creating flame. Obviously, there will be some radiant heat transfer. So obviously, this part of the boiler will get also the radiant heat transfer. And then this is the wall on which the combustion is taking place, or close to that combustion is taking place. So the wall is also very hot. So if I put some tubes on the embedded in the wall, it will have two effects. First thing, it will transfer the heat by conduction to the water passing through the tube. So that is one thing. Another thing, it will also keep the furnace wall little bit cool. So this wall is called water wall. Why it is called water wall? Because we have got solid construction, but inside the solid construction, lot of boiler tubes are there. So these boiler tubes are absorbing the heat and keeping the wall cool. So you can see that three main mechanisms of heat transfer. So at least air side heat, whatever heat is being generated, all three mechanisms are used. That means radiative heat transfer is there, convective heat transfer is very much there, and on the water wall, due to conduction also heat transfer is there. Okay, and then there are phase change. So if we go to the water circuit, we will find evaporation is there, and rather boiling is there, and condensation is there. So if you want to study any mode of heat transfer, so power plant equipment, and if we go to cooling tower, which I will discuss sometimes, so there you will find evaporative heat transfer is there. So all modes of heat transfer, or most of the modes of heat transfer, you will get in a power plant. Now the boiler part is clear. Is it clear, boiler part? No. I am not still done with this figure. There are a lot many things, maybe one full class can be devoted on this figure. And then the figure is there, you can refer back. But whatever I have told, is it clear? The flue gas path, just a minute. The flue gas path, it starts from here and here, then here, here, here. So you can understand the highest temperature of the convective gas and also radiation heat transfer. So that is here. And then of course, there are the other parts. And then temperature reduces and ultimately it goes to the chimney. So can you tell me that what part of the boiler should be, what part of the boiler should be here? Because it is getting maximum amount of thermal energy due to convection and radiation. Can you tell me? Any idea? Where we need more temperature?
Superheated.
Superheater. So most of the superheaters will be kept here. So superheater, actually there are several superheaters. So primary superheater, tertiary superheater, final superheater. So superheaters will be kept here. Okay. And what does our fuel, I mean, I will leave it within a minute. What does our flue gas does? So it vaporizes, or burning of coal, it vaporizes the fluid. So that is the evaporator part of it. It superheats the steam, that is the superheated part. It also heats the subcooled water, that is economizer. And then part of the heat of the hot gas can also be used for heating the cold air which we have to draw for combustion. So these are the utilization of heat by burning coal. And you yourself can decide that if we consider the flue gas path and continuously the temperature is increasing, which heat exchange equipment will be kept where you yourself can be decide it. Like at the lowest temperature, we should try to extract heat for air. At the highest temperature, we should try to extract heat for the superheater. Okay, so let us stop it here. We will again continue from this point. Thank you.